Hey everybody, how you guys doing? Looking at the next section notes here on political parties after I learned about ideology. Look at this page here, page 16 of your note guide for the unit. Halfway through the stuff we need to know, we're looking at some examples from our platforms and about our two main political parties, as well as kind of what those ideas of political parties are. All right, so make sure you grab that out for me. Have it there ready to rock. Let's pull up our stuff here. So remember, parties and ideology are very, very different, right? You can be liberal and not be a Democrat. You can be conservative and not be a Republican. It is up to you. All party is people that are loosely connected due to their ideology. I know a lot of people who consider themselves to be liberals, but are not Democrats. People who consider themselves to be very conservative, but are not Republicans. Okay, and there's a group of people that have the same kind of ideas. Now, will they all agree? Of course not. Okay. But typically, if you're a Democrat, you're seen as more liberal, right? More regulation of the economy, more government involvement and stuff, more looking at personal freedoms, those kind of deals. If you're Republican, you're seen as more conservative, less economic involvement, a little more personal regulation. Those kind of things are a big part of their belief. Also, both sides of government. Democrats are okay with a bigger government, right? Hiring more people, getting more people involved in stuff. Republicans want much smaller government. Let states do things instead, less federal government kind of things going on. Now, again, like I said, just because you identify as conservative or liberal doesn't mean you fit what black or white kind of situation, right? It's not red blue. It's various shades of gray, or even I would say even various shades of purple. I guess you could say it. You can be a very liberal Democrat and be way off on the edge. You can be a very conservative Republican and be off on the very, very edge. You can also be a Republican who's more moderate towards the middle, where maybe you believe agree with the Democrats on a few things, right? You can be a very moderate Democrat and be more towards the middle, where you agree with the Republicans on some things. And that's a totally okay thing to be. And so it's not this, this or that, red or blue, white or black situation. It is various shades where we are on this political spectrum and how you identify and what party you identify with by who you agree with and who you want to work with. And that's all it really means by going through that part, okay? So we talk about political parties is that it's a very, very important part of our American history. Political parties have been around as long as the country has. In fact, our first president, George Washington, Papa G Dubs there, when he left office, he's like, hey, people, listen up. Here's my number one piece of advice to you. Don't make political parties. Well, right after he left office, guess what we did? We made political parties. Go figure, right? All Washington said was that you're going to serve your own interests, divide the people, that kind of stuff. And in some ways, you can see how he's right. They do that. But the parties that were formed after he left office were the Democratic Republicans and the Federalists. Federalists, not around anymore. The Democratic Republicans are the modern day Democrats. But the weird thing is that back in that time, at the turn of the 19th century, 1800s, the Democratic Republicans were considered the more conservative party, okay? They're the ones who wanted small government, led by Thomas Jefferson, wanted more stuff by the states, less federal power, a very much smaller federal government, and didn't want things to really change a lot, okay? They kind of started out being very, very conservative. And even through the 19th century, the 1800s, going through up to like the Civil War, they were considered the more conservative party. They didn't want a lot of change, especially when it came to the whole like slavery situation, right? With the expansion of slavery and abolition of slavery, a lot of the more pro-slavery voters were Democrats, okay? And the Republican Party actually forms in Wisconsin, a small town of Ripon, with anti-slavery Democrats and some Whigs, another party that doesn't exist anymore, got together. And so at that point, the Republican Party in the 19th century, the 1800s, was the more liberal party. And so Abraham Lincoln was the first Republican president, and he was considered very, very liberal because he was looking for change, right? He was open to change in the country around the slavery situation, and Republicans are a big deal. Now, up until 1931, it was very common to say that the Republicans were more liberal and more about change. Democrats had the opposite; they're the more conservative. And then the Great Depression hits, and everything switches. They literally switched their ideologies to where now we see the Democrats being more liberal and the conservatives being being the Republicans, being more conservative. And so you kind of see change who goes to those parties. So after the 1930s and through World War II, we see more working class people and liberals be more Democratic. The Democrat Party, even minorities be more the Democrat Party. The unions more the Democrat Party because of help with labor and regulations, all the kind of stuff that happened. Whereas the Republican Party tends to be more people who are in business, less regulations, that kind of stuff. More Protestants, the Christian, conservative Christian right. non-minorities, non-union groups, people that don't want a lot of government involvement. That's what ends up going more towards the Republican Party. And we see that this organization happen at every level. So local, state, federal, we have organization of the party. So at the local level, like here in Sauk County, for example, they try to get people elected to those jobs like mayor and city council, all that kind of stuff, even and help get people elected for the bigger jobs. We have in Sauk County, we have a Republican and Democrat committee. Jerry Helmer is the head of the Republican committee. Susan Orr head of the Democratic committee. They have an office. They have a place you can get information and signs, all kind of deal, to encourage people to vote for stuff on a local level. On the state level, you try to get people elected to those jobs. So you try to get the governorship, the representatives, senators, all those kind of spots. So like Governor Evers is Democrat. Our representative senator are both Democrats, Dave Constein and Dave Hesselbein, at least for now until the maps change in November. Robin Vos, who's a Speaker of the Assembly, kind of one of the more powerful people in the state, he's a Republican. And at the state level, they're trying to get their candidates to the office to get what they want done. At the same time, you have the national party, right? Who want to get those national jobs taken care of. So you have President Biden, who's a Democrat, Senator Johnson, Republican, Senator Baldwin, Democrat. Our representative here is, for our area, Mark Pocan is a Democrat. They want to try and get control of those national houses and national spots that way. But they all kind of have to work together from the local level all the way up to the national. You may start working in politics potentially at a local level too, with party. Eventually move up to the state level. I knew Mark Pocan when he was a state rep in Madison, and now he became a representative a few years back. So what I'm have you guys do is go on to the next video, if you could please, in the playlist, and you're gonna check out this little video I posted from a YouTube channel that helps explain all the different beliefs and where they kind of fall. Make sure you guys do that for me, and we'll see you guys in class. Thank you all very much. You guys are awesome.